what it is, what it is, what it do, what it do. Check this out, y'all. For sure, for sure. Now, I got to thinking exactly how everybody else is thinking. This shouldn't surprise too many of you. But then again, I'm unsure. I seem to have a problem with my security system here, besides what I'm going to talk to y'all about. Some type of problem with my security system. You know. Nevertheless, just, yeah, my cameras are shifting and shit. You know, but nevertheless, check this out. So, I believe I'm going to title this one Vibranium, Copper, and Melanin. Something like that there. You know what I mean? Now, I guess I'll start here because I really don't have a format. I never do. Oh, and let me clear up something. All right? Let me clear up something in my last video. I was going back through my drug law, speaking about my past, right? Without no shame or no guilt. And I had said that my past trials and tribulations consisted of this, that, and the other. I did run right over. I do have a so-called Class C burglary, okay? Which is, Class C means commercial burglary. It's not going in the house. It's going into a building, a structure, a commercial business, all right? And some of them was closed up and tore down, old warehouses that I used to go into. Nevertheless, just to clear that up, because I spoke that and said I never went into no house, all right? Never. Commercial burglaries, just to clarify that, because I would like to stay on the truth frequency. All right. Now, nevertheless, you know, I mean, and don't trip. I mean, a lot of people have their own, what's the name? It doesn't matter. A lot of you used to piss in the bed. Do you pee in the bed now? Right. Proceed. Move forward. A lot of you suck your thumb. Do you suck your thumb now? You got that right if you want to. Who the fuck is anybody else to speak upon you? Your thoughts. You can't think like that. What we supposed to think like? You? You know, no one can fit these, man, except the one who holds these. And that is the fingerprint. Nevertheless, Vibranium. All right, let me see. I'm doing this at a time that I really, you see, I had to put the antennas up here. You know, I'm trying to track all kind of frequency. All right. Nevertheless, all right, man. So, I do it like this here. Vibranium. All right, just bear with me for a minute. No, you know what you know about vibranium. All right, what you heard, what they say. You know what I'm saying? You already know this. So, hold on. Okay. So you already know these things about vibranium. All right, certain things, you know. It holds the energy for redistribution. Now, I'm going to say these words again. Vibranium, melanin, and copper. So to get your mind thinking already. And you already got some stuff, right? Okay. You might know some of it, but you know more than I do. So I'm going to let you know just a little bit of, well, what I know for now. All right? And there's much more on the internet. Information age, right? All right. So, I'm going to go with copper first, all right? Copper. You know, a lot of our brothers speak about copper. You know, they also give this to people at a certain age when they get old to relieve arthritis. But why wait till you older and have arthritis to put on some copper when everybody in the so-called other place called Africa wears it from birth or whatever? Now, I'm going to show you some things about copper, all right? And oh, by the way, I have a playlist called Melanin. No, it's called Vibranium, Copper, and Melanin. All right? Yeah, my stream is going out. Frequencies. Nevertheless, now, here it is. I have a playlist that has entitled Vibranium, Copper, and Melanin. You need to check that out. All right, now we're going to go to this copper as soon as I can get where I need to be at this second. I will see. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me now. Okay, here we go. I got 18 different things to, open up the mind, open up the doors, all right? Now, you may be familiar with this one. It's called copper pipe and neodymium magnets, all right? Now, you know some of this, but I want to show you something so you can keep this in mind.
This cookie jar shake is like the perfect marriage of Oreo cookies and real ice cream. Now that's a wedding I would kill to go to.
Hope you're going to be able to see this, all right? So that's a copper tube, all right? Thick copper tube. Thick. You know what I'm saying? Big neodymium magnet. See how slow it goes down? Because it's creating the energy. Alright? It falls slow through the copper. Because the copper itself is making its own magnetic energy. Alright? Okay. Okay, just letting you know and see the effects of copper. Now, nothing else does this. No other type of metal does this except copper. None. Right? See now, as that magnet is going through though, it has to be given a certain type of energy flux, which can be kept and held for redistribution, possibly. And remember, these are from study. This is from study that I'm going to show you, all right? Now, let me see, there's so many in here. But I'm going to show you this one. You might have didn't know about this one here. Now, this is a copper coil. All right, I'm going to show you what it is. Copper coil. Neodymium magnets with a battery. All right. Now, the battery, you already know, is the body. Magnets on the top and the bottom of the battery through a copper coil will move by itself. See that? The battery is the positive and negative electrons in a body, topped and bottomed off with magnets, will move easily, effortlessly through a copper coil. Interesting, right? Look like another science project. We're talking about your body. We're talking about kinetics. We're talking about motion. We're talking about energy here. We're talking about blood flow here. We're talking about technology here, self-technology. It plays out in the physical. Now look at this now. Energy, magnetism, magnets. Remember, magnetism is not really magnetism. It's a vortex of energy spinning in a certain direction, I believe, and at the same time producing its own energy. All right? Interesting, right? But remember, we're looking at this with self-knowledge. You know, scientists and those who observe or whatever, you know, singularity of our study, you make and utilize this, not to create so much that you become unaware of what it really is inducing.
Guys, we're out of milk.
Right?
Going on a target run. Need anything?
Skim milk!
Okay, now let me show you this one. This one is called, by the way, copper's surprising reaction to strong magnets, force field motion dampening. All right. Remember though, the vibranium, what does it do? Hold is stated, you know, from the movie. It holds the energy and impact and redistributes it. Now that's a magnet hovering or being moved over a big thing, thick thing of copper. All right, but that's only doing that because he has a magnet up under it. It's not doing it by itself.
In this video, I will be exploring magnetic braking and levitation utilizing the inductance of large copper plates. These plates I picked up on eBay for a pretty reasonable price, along with some very strong neodymium magnets. Together they behave in strange ways. Copper is not magnetic, so they don't exactly attract each other, but at the same time this magnet doesn't seem to want to slip off very quickly. It drags across the plate slowly, like it's moving through a thick fluid. It's even more interesting if I drop the magnet on the plate. It slows down mid-air and gently floats to the surface. So if the copper is not magnetic, something else must be causing this. And many of you probably already know the answer has to do with electricity. When a magnetic field moves through copper and many other metals, it causes electrons to reorganize themselves and flow in a circular pattern perpendicular to the oncoming magnetic field.
You hear that?
Of course, the electrons were perfectly happy being where they were before the magnet tried moving them around, and so they resist this movement by generating a temporary magnetic field of their own. There's no attraction or repulsion, just resistance to change. One way that we can prove this resistance is due to the flow of electricity is by replacing the copper plates with a copper coil. This coil of wire is not connected at the ends, and so it does not form a complete electrical circuit. If we tried to make electrons flow around this coil, they would have nowhere to go, and we can tell this is the case because when I drop a magnet through the center, there is no resistance. It falls through the coil as if it were not even there, no slowing down at all. If the resistance to movement we saw with the copper plate was an inherent property of copper, nothing to do with electricity, the magnet should still slow down, even with a disconnected circuit. When I do connect the two ends of the copper wire, now the magnet pauses as soon as it reaches the coil, and it takes a moment to make it all the way through. Electrons can now make a complete orbit around the coil in response to the oncoming magnetic field, and so the magnet slows down as its momentum is converted into electrical current. If I once again disconnect the coil and bridge the circuit with an LED, we can see a better indication of the electricity. The LED is very efficient, so powering it doesn't slow down the magnet quite as much as when the circuit was closed directly. This is a simplified model of how the majority of the world's electricity is generated. There are many different types of power plants, but most of them are just trying to figure out different ways to more efficiently move magnets through coils of wire.
Power plant,
Now back to the
moving
copper
magnets
plates.
through
We can't so
copper
easily
wire.
get electricity from these like we can from a coil, but the electrons are still flowing and cause very heavy resistance to a strong magnet. Because of this, we can do some interesting things like manually levitate a magnet above the surface. I'm doing this by holding a second magnet underneath the plate. It's not easy to make a magnet float in this way, but it is fun to practice. I found that using a very wide magnet on top and a smaller magnet underneath is the most controllable setup. I made
This
a
is
small
not a
stand
science
to hold
project.
my copper plates out of wood
This
and
is the
acrylic
study of
glass.
self.
The resistance to movement caused by the electrical inductance in the copper
This is what
is
I
the only reason this
perceive.
levitation is possible. On a surface without this property, a magnet will fly right off the side as soon as you try to lift it with a second magnet. Despite the resistance that we've seen to change, magnetic fields pass right through copper as if it were not even there, as we can see by how I'm able to rotate this small cube magnet from a long distance away, even with the copper plate separating the magnet in my hand. Replacing the disc magnet with this smaller cube in the earlier setup allows me to walk it across the surface like a little robot, and the motion damping provided by the copper gives me very precise control.
Motion dampening.
Besides the generation of electricity, there are a few other practical applications for this sort of motion damping. High-speed trains and even some roller coasters use a magnetic braking system set up in a way very similar to this, with powerful magnets, usually electromagnets, elevated above a conductive surface. The magnets slow the vehicle down quickly, without any surface-to-surface friction that causes damage in conventional braking systems between brake pads and rotors. My favorite tabletop demonstration of magnetic braking is to swing a magnet toward a chunk of copper like a wrecking ball. The magnet loses all of its momentum at the very last moment in a way that almost looks supernatural. It reminds me of a scene in the second Matrix movie where Neo stops bullets in midair. What's really happening is of course the same thing that has happened in my other examples. The magnet's momentum is slowed by opposing magnetic fields generated by the flow of electrons in the copper. And since the electrical energy isn't being collected by a circuit for any useful purpose, it dissipates into the lump of copper as heat. So the copper actually gets warmer every time I swing the magnet toward it,
So it's
but by
holding.
such a small amount that measuring the change would be very difficult.
It captures the energy
All of the things that you've seen
and
demonstrated
holds
in
it,
this video are
possibly
described
for
by two
redistribution.
scientific principles.
But how can a magnet
Faraday's law of
or
induction
copper
and Lenz's law.
redistribute
So if you'd like to learn in more detail
unless it's on a
than what I
body?
was able to demonstrate here, you should read up on those laws, and I'll put links in the video description below for you to do just that. Now, since you found yourself watching this video, presumably you enjoy learning like this, learning about science and the world around us. And so I know you'll enjoy my sponsor for this video, Brilliant.org. Brilliant is an education.
Didn't mean to do all that. I would have let the cat continue. But I believe that is enough. I'm not trying to make this too long, brothers and sisters. All right? Now, as you can see, the magnet, and you got to understand what a magnet is. It's got 3, I think, different metals that makes a magnet. All right? 3 different types of metals. All right? Now, the magnet cannot touch the copper when it's thick. All right, it cannot touch it. It will slow down and dampen its force, as you've seen. All right, go back. Like I said, I got a playlist called Vibranium, Copper, and Melanin. Or one, matter of fact, it's called 1 Copper, Vibranium, and Melanin. All right, number 1, just 1, not O-N-E. But nevertheless, it's in my playlist. All right, now I show you this to let you know this. Okay, what does melanin do? Melanin absorbs all energy, right? Carbon, melanin. Carbon is the bonds that holds all energy, right? Compresses the energy, right? Compresses it, right? Melanin holds all and absorbs all energy for redistribution. But how can it hold it? How can it create its own magnetic source that does what the magnet or the magnetic fields that's coming toward the body of melanin or copper? I mean, not copper, but melanin. The magnetic fields we walk through all the time, right? It's just like the magnet. So if you do not have copper on, the magnetic forces is, I think, penetrating. It's not slowing down. See, one who does not have a lot of copper on, the magnetic frequency and forces is going through and doing whatever its power is allowing it to do to the body. But once you put copper on, right, copper will slow down and dampen the magnetic force that is projected towards you, or walking through all these magnetic fields of, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 4G, 3G, 5G, and all this type of technology, right? Now you say, how the hell is a few pieces of copper gonna stop it? You remember the movie Black Panther, right? Now there's a lot of things you could say about Black Panther, but you could say a lot of things about any comic because they have to be based on the technology, and it has to be truthful, and it has to be given principles. And just like Star Trek, they couldn't make all that propulsion generation system if it wasn't based on the correct diagram and stuff like that above your head, so they can speak it, tell it, and be on track. Because somebody say, that's just a whole bunch of bullshit. They ain't even talking right. They saying such and such. No, they would have to be technologically correct. So, how the hell is something like this gonna assist you? Because remember, black or melanin absorbs all energy. So it's absorbing this energy. Do you remember in Black Panther, she says, what did she say? The whole suit is contained in the necklace. Because, see, we talk about green, Osiris being green, and blue black, and blue green, and purple, and all that type of stuff, black, right? Being blue-green and stuff, Well, when you wear copper, don't you realize that it makes a green substance on the copper? To anybody who wears a lot of copper, you will have green spots that get up on you, right? You would have green spots. You can see right here, like this. That's green. They say it's poisonous. But how can it be it's poisonous to who? To a body that cannot absorb through the melanin its principles. And it stays green, all right? It makes your skin green. It makes the copper green. If you put it here, it'll make it your hair turn green a little bit. You have a little green, what's the name? And they say that's poison. To who? They said the sun will kill you. Kill who? You know what I'm saying? They say it will blind you. Blind who? They said masturbation will blind you. Blind who? Nevertheless, let's keep it moving. Check this out. So, green was Osiris. Green beans, right? So, now you're going to look at that. Doesn't matter. Nevertheless, so, I forget, it's called copper bicarbonate or something like that. I don't know. I can't really recall right now because I had no knowledge I was going to make this. So I'm going to hurry up. I'm going to give you something because, I've been in and out. And nevertheless, so green, remember, the whole suit is contained in this because we absorb it. Now, they want to talk about copper, but never talk about the residue that comes off the copper. That's more intriguing than the copper. It's the mat. See, you can't absorb this. Your body can't absorb this, and if you try to shoot steel, this real copper in your ass, you already know that won't work. But the residue upon the suit contains the principles of it. Would you not say that? I would, and anybody else would. All right. Now, so that thick piece of copper is probably real thin toward a body that's sufficiently absorbing copper. Now, I ain't telling nobody to think you bulletproof, but it's a science that's intriguing, and you should study it yourself. Nevertheless, melanin holds energy. If it's not the source, but it can become a source of energy for redistribution. Magnetic fields you will not harm you as much because the copper slows down and dampening the magnetic field. All right. All right. What else is it? Let me see. I know it's a lot that I'm gonna miss, but I think I told you enough. So be in your study, and go to my playlist. It's the playlist states 1 copper, vibranium, and melanin. All right. I had to drop that. Open your eyes. Think. And it's not pseudoscience. It's something for our scientists, our self-scientists, and our self-awareness to take a look at. All right? So that's that. Check it out. And I'm straightforward once again.